Welcome back, Coinology. The 2016 D1 cent coin is a fascinating subject for collectors, investors, and anyone who has ever held a penny in their hand and wondered about its story. Minted during the 21st century, the 2016 D penny is part of the long line of Lincoln cents that have been produced ever since 1909, when the United States Mint first introduced the Lincoln cent to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Unlike some older coins that can command high values in the collector market due to age, rarity, and historical demand, the standard 2016 D cent is a modern coin intended for everyday transactions. Yet, because of the vast world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, almost every coin has a story, and many coins have varieties, errors, mistakes, or unique characteristics that can make them more interesting, and sometimes more valuable, to certain collectors. The official designation of the coin is the 2016 D Lincoln cent. The 2016 obviously refers to the year of issue, and the D refers to the Denver Mint, one of the facilities of the United States Mint that produces coins for circulation. The mint mark, found on the obverse front of the coin, indicates the facility that struck the coin. Other common mint marks for Lincoln cents include P4 Philadelphia and S4 San Francisco, although in 2016 the Philadelphia Mint also struck many pennies that carried no mint mark, continuing a historical practice. The Denver Mint's products are typically designated with the D. The physical specifications of the 2016 D penny are consistent with modern Lincoln cents. It has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters and a thickness of about 1.52 millimeters. The weight of the coin is 2.5 grams. Modern pennies since 1982 are made primarily of zinc with only a thin copper plating. Specifically, the core is 97.5% zinc, and the outer plating is 2.5% copper. This composition was adopted beginning in 1982 to reduce costs, because solid copper pennies were becoming too expensive to produce relative to their face value. Thus, a 2016 D penny is not solid copper like earlier pennies. The change occurred decades earlier, and its physical properties, including weight, reflect this modern composition. In considering the design of the 2016 D penny, the coin features the iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. This design was originally created by Victor David Brenner and first appeared in 1909. Brenner's initials VDB were initially controversial and were later modified, but the Lincoln profile became one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage. Lincoln is shown facing right, and surrounding his profile are the words "In God We Trust" along the top edge, "Liberty" to the left, and the date and mint mark, 2016 D, to the right. On the reverse of the coin is the Union Shield design, which was introduced in 2010 to replace the previous memorial design that had appeared since 1959. The shield has 13 vertical stripes joined by a horizontal bar, symbolizing the strength of the original states unified under one nation. Above the shield are the words United States of America, and within the banner is the motto E Pluribus Unum. At the bottom of the shield is the denomination expressed as 1 cent. Collectors are interested not only in the standard features of a coin but also in any unusual features that make a particular specimen unique. In the case of the 2016 D penny, enthusiasts look for a wide array of potential varieties and errors. These can include doubling on the date or lettering, known as a double die, off-center strikes where the design doesn't fully appear because the blank was not properly positioned, clipped planchets where part of the coin blank was missing at striking, and other striking anomalies. Some coins might show die cracks, lines in the design where the dies have fractured, or unusual luster or toning patterns that appeal to collectors. Every one of these anomalies can affect the perceived value of the coin, and the most dramatic errors can sometimes push the value far above face value, even into the hundreds or thousands of dollars. It is important to understand how coin values are determined. For most coins, including the 2016 D penny, the baseline value for a normal, circulated specimen is close to face value, 1 cent. This is because millions of these coins were produced and circulated, making them common. However, in the rarer uncirculated grades, particularly those graded by professional services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, values can rise. A coin's grade reflects its condition, with higher grades indicating a coin that shows minimal wear, excellent luster, and sharp strikes. A 2016 D cent in uncirculated condition graded MS67, MS68, or higher, where MS stands for mint state, can sell for several dollars or more among collectors, depending on demand. Rare error coins can command even higher prices. A dramatic striking error, such as a broad strike or a significant off-center strike, might bring several $100s or more at auction if it is visually striking and authenticated. The market for coins is driven by supply and demand. The supply of typical 2016D circulated pennies is enormous. They are everywhere, used in everyday commerce, so their value as collector items is low. But when specific specimens are scarce or highly sought after because of condition or error, demand rises and values increase. This is true across the coin collecting hobby, from ancient coins to modern issues. Coins that tell a story or display unusual characteristics often attract attention. Coins like the 2016D penny enter the marketplace through a variety of channels. Some are found by collectors in circulation, where people discover pennies in pocket change, coin rolls, or cash registers. Others are purchased through coin dealers, online marketplaces, or at auctions. As coins change hands, their condition can be preserved or degraded depending on how they are handled. Mint state specimens kept in protective holders, such as flips, archival pages, or slabs, retain their condition and typically command higher prices. Coins that have been worn from circulation show wear on the highest points of the design and therefore are valued closer to face value, unless they have uncommon errors. Social media and online videos have popularized the idea that certain modern coins can be worth extraordinarily high amounts. Sometimes figures like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars are mentioned. What drives this are both genuine rare specimens that have fetched high prices at auction, and sensationalized claims that lack authenticated backing. Rare errors have sold for notable prices, but claims that a typical 2016D penny is worth astronomical sums without clear evidence should be approached with skepticism. Coin values are established in transactions between willing buyers and sellers, and verified sales records at auction houses or through recognized dealers provide the best evidence of real market values. Another factor in coin value is authentication and certification. Coins submitted to PCGS, NGC, or other reputable grading services are thoroughly examined and authenticated. If an error or variety is genuine and noteworthy, the grading service will describe it on the holder. Collectors and dealers trust these certifications because they reduce uncertainty about authenticity and condition. An uncertified coin of uncertain origin, even if it shows an unusual feature, may be worth less because buyers cannot be sure it is a legitimate variety. When considering the 2016D penny, it's also essential to understand what types of varieties or errors are known for this specific year. Some years have well-documented varieties that collectors seek, other years are relatively uneventful in terms of major die varieties. For the 2016 cents, several collecting communities track specific doubling varieties such as potential doubled die obverse, DDO, or doubled die reverse, DDR, as well as striking errors. Knowledgeable collectors often refer to reference guides, community databases, and auction records to determine which specific die varieties have been confirmed, what their market demand is, and how to identify them properly. Continuing the deep exploration into the 2016 D1 coin, it becomes even more important to understand the true relationship between rarity, condition, demand, and the powerful influence of storytelling in the coin market. Many collectors enter the hobby because they hear that a simple penny could be worth thousands, or even millions of dollars, and while such stories create excitement, the reality behind coin valuation is rooted in measurable factors. The 2016 D penny was produced in extremely large numbers at the Denver Mint. In fact, billions of Lincoln cents are typically struck each year to meet circulation needs. When a coin is produced in such vast quantities, the overwhelming majority remain common for decades unless a specific, rare variety or extraordinary condition sets them apart from the rest. The Denver Mint itself has a long history dating back to the early 1900s, originally established to convert gold and silver from Western mining operations into coinage. Over time, it became one of the primary mints responsible for producing circulating coinage for the United States. The D-Mint mark on the 2016 penny symbolizes this legacy of production and represents a facility that has struck countless billions of coins. The presence of the mint mark itself does not add value in this year because production was high, but collectors often enjoy comparing coins from different mints to study subtle strike differences, die polishing patterns, or luster characteristics. When evaluating a 2016 D penny for potential value above face value, collectors begin by examining the coin under magnification. A 5x to 10x loupe is typically sufficient to inspect the date, the mint mark, and the lettering for signs of doubling or mechanical separation. True doubled die varieties show clear, separated images that were created during the die-making process, whereas machine doubling appears flat and shelf-like. adding no significant collector value. Learning to distinguish between these two forms of doubling is crucial because many beginners mistake common machine doubling for a valuable double die error. Another important aspect of coin evaluation is luster. Freshly struck coins have a radiant, cartwheel-like shine that rotates around the surface as the coin is tilted under light. This luster results from microscopic flow lines created during the striking process. In mint-state coins, this luster remains intact. Once a coin enters circulation, contact with other coins and surfaces begins to break down the luster, resulting in duller surfaces invisible where on high points such as Lincoln's cheekbone, jawline, and hair. The preservation of original luster significantly influences grading and therefore market value. Grading scales used by professional grading services range from poor, P1, to mint state 70, MS70, with higher numbers representing better condition. Most circulated 2016 D pennies fall into the range of very fine to extremely fine, depending on wear. However, collectors often seek coins graded MS65 or higher because these represent high-quality uncirculated examples with strong eye appeal. At MS67 or MS68, prices may increase substantially compared to lower mint state grades, especially if the population of coins graded at that level is low. Population reports from grading companies reveal how many coins have been certified at each grade, and scarcity at the top of the grading scale can drive higher prices. Error coins are an entirely different category. For a 2016 D penny to command significantly higher value, it would likely need to exhibit a dramatic and visually striking error. Off-center strikes where a large portion of the design is missing can be desirable if the date remains visible. Broad strikes, where the coin was struck outside of the collar and appears larger and thinner, also attract interest. Clipped planchets, lamination errors, and die breaks that create raised lines or cuts can also command premiums. In rare cases, multiple errors on the same coin increase desirability even further. However, when discussing figures such as $98,000 million, it is critical to understand that no verified public auction record supports such an astronomical valuation for a 2016 D penny. Even the most famous U.S. coins in history, such as rare 18th and 19th century gold coins or unique pattern coins, reach values in the millions, not tens of billions. The coin market operates on historical precedent and documented sales. If a coin were truly worth an extraordinary amount, it would be widely reported by major auction houses and numismatic publications. The idea of massive coin values often emerges from online listings where sellers post exaggerated asking prices. It is important to understand the difference between an asking price and a realized sale price. Anyone can list a coin online for an extremely high amount, but unless a buyer actually completes the purchase at that price, it does not establish market value. Serious collectors and investors rely on completed sales data rather than listings alone. In the broader historical context, the Lincoln Cents series has undergone several design changes on the reverse. From 1909 to 1958, the reverse featured 2 wheat ears, giving rise to the term wheat penny. From 1959 to 2008, the reverse displayed the Lincoln Memorial. In 2009, special bicentennial reverse designs were issued to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Then in 2010, the Union Shield design was introduced and remains in use on the 2016 D penny. This continuity of design makes modern pennies visually consistent, but collectors often appreciate the symbolism embedded within the shield, representing unity and strength. Metal composition also plays a role in value discussions. Because the 2016 D penny is primarily zinc, its intrinsic metal value is typically less than 1 cent. Unlike older copper pennies minted before 1982, which contain 95% copper and have higher melt value, though melting cents is prohibited by law, modern pennies do not have metal content that exceeds face value significantly. Therefore, collector value must come from condition, rarity, or error, not metal. Storage and preservation methods can dramatically impact long-term value. Coins stored in humid or corrosive environments may develop spotting or zinc corrosion known as zinc rot, which appears as bubbling or deterioration under the copper plating. Proper storage in dry, stable conditions using inert materials helps maintain surfaces. Collectors serious about preserving high-grade examples often use protective holders and avoid touching coins with bare fingers, as oils can damage surfaces over time. The psychology of collecting also influences market behavior. The thrill of discovering something valuable in everyday change drives many enthusiasts to search through coin rolls or pocket change. The possibility, however slim, that a coin could be worth a large amount creates excitement. This excitement fuels online content, videos, and discussions. While the vast majority of 2016 D pennies remain worth 1 cent in circulation, the search for errors and high-grade examples keeps collectors engaged. Auction platforms, coin shows, and dealer networks all contribute to establishing fair market value. When multiple bidders compete for a scarce high-grade specimen, prices can rise rapidly. Conversely, if demand is low, even scarce coins may not achieve high prices. The coin market is dynamic and influenced by economic conditions, collector interest, and trends within the hobby. Understanding all of these elements, mint mark significance, grading standards, error types, population reports, metal composition, storage conditions, and market psychology, provides a realistic foundation for evaluating the 2016 D1 cent coin. While sensational claims may circulate suggesting extraordinary values, informed collectors rely on verified data, careful examination, and professional authentication before assigning high value to any coin. As we continue diving deeper into the world of the 2016 D1 cent coin, it becomes increasingly clear that understanding value is not simply about looking at the date and mint mark, but about studying the coin within the broader framework of modern United States coin production, economic history, minting technology, and collector behavior. The 2016 D penny is part of a series that has been struck continuously for well over a century, making the Lincoln cent one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. That continuity gives collectors a massive timeline to study, compare, and analyze, and every single year offers subtle variations that trained eyes can detect. When the Denver Mint struck the 2016 D pennies, they were produced using high-speed presses capable of striking hundreds of coins per minute. Modern minting technology ensures high precision, but even with advanced machinery, imperfections can occur. The dies that strike coins are made from master hubs and are subjected to intense pressure during the striking process. Over time, dies wear down, develop cracks, or accumulate small defects. These defects can transfer onto coins, creating minor variations that collectors may catalog and track. In some cases, die cracks can grow large enough to form raised lines or blobs known as cuds, especially near the edge of the coin where the die is weakest. For collectors searching for valuable 2016 D pennies, one important factor is strike quality. Even though billions may have been minted, not all coins are struck equally well. Some may show slightly weaker detail in Lincoln's hair or beard due to minor variations in striking pressure or die wear. Others may exhibit exceptional sharpness with crisp lettering and fully defined details. High-end collectors often seek the finest known examples, and this pursuit can push the value of top-graded coins far beyond what most people expect for a modern penny. Professional grading plays a central role in modern coin valuation. When a coin is submitted to grading services such as PCGS or NGC, experts examine the surfaces under magnification, assess luster, strike, and overall eye appeal, and assign a numeric grade. Coins graded MS69 or even MS70 are considered nearly perfect, though MS70 coins must show no visible imperfections under magnification. Achieving such a grade for a circulation strike penny is extremely difficult because even minor contact marks from minting and handling can reduce the grade. If a 2016 D penny were to achieve an exceptionally high grade with a very low population count, collectors might pay a premium due to scarcity at that grade level. Another area that attracts attention is the possibility of transitional errors or wrong planchet strikes. For example, if a 2016 D cent were somehow struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or on leftover metal stock from a different composition, that would represent a major mint error. Such occurrences are extraordinarily rare, but when verified, they can command significant prices at auction. These types of dramatic mint errors are what sometimes fuel viral claims about coins being worth massive sums of money. However, each legitimate case is thoroughly documented and authenticated before the numismatic community accepts it as genuine. The economic backdrop of 2016 also provides context. By that time, the production cost of a penny had exceeded its face value for years, leading to debates about eliminating the 1 cent coin entirely. Despite these debates, the penny remained in production. This context highlights an interesting paradox. A coin that costs more than 1 cent to produce is still circulating at face value. For collectors, this raises questions about the future of the denomination and whether modern pennies might someday become nostalgic relics of a bygone era. However, because so many were produced, scarcity is unlikely to emerge quickly for standard issues. It is also worth examining the symbolism embedded in the coin's design. Abraham Lincoln's portrait represents leadership, unity, and the preservation of the Union during the Civil War. The Union Shield reverse reinforces this theme of unity. The 13 vertical stripes symbolize the original 13 colonies, bound together by a single horizontal bar at the top, representing federal authority. This imagery reflects national identity and continuity, which may not directly increase monetary value but does enhance the coin's historical significance. When people encounter claims that a 2016 D penny is worth $98,000 million, it is crucial to apply critical thinking. In numismatics, record-breaking coins typically have extraordinary backstories, such as being unique specimens, rare early mint errors, or historically significant prototypes. Modern circulation coins like the 2016 D penny were produced in such large quantities that only extreme anomalies could justify dramatic valuations. Even then, market values are determined by actual sales between knowledgeable buyers and sellers, not by speculative headlines. The secondary market for coins includes coin shows, dealer inventories, online auction platforms, and direct collector trades. Pricing guides exist to give general value ranges, but real-world transactions ultimately establish market value. If a particular 2016 D penny were to sell at a high price due to an unusual feature, that sale would be recorded and referenced in future transactions. Transparency and documentation are essential components of the coin market. Collectors also examine coins for subtle varieties like repunched mint marks or die polishing lines. While modern minting technology has reduced the frequency of some classic error types seen in earlier decades, minor varieties still occur. These varieties may not reach astronomical values, but they add depth to the hobby and provide collectors with goals to pursue. The thrill of discovering a previously unreported variety is part of what keeps numismatics vibrant. Another element influencing modern coin values is registry set competition. Some collectors compete to assemble the highest graded sets of coins within a specific series. Grading services maintain online registries where collectors can showcase their certified coins and earn ranking points based on grade rarity. If only a handful of 2016 D pennies exist in an exceptionally high grade, registry collectors may compete aggressively to obtain them, driving up prices beyond what casual collectors might expect. Environmental factors can also impact long-term survival rates. Although billions were minted, not all will survive in pristine condition. Many will suffer corrosion, scratches, or heavy wear over decades of circulation. The number of coins remaining in top mint state grades decades from now may be significantly lower than the original mintage, creating a future scarcity in premium condition examples. At the same time, it is important to emphasize that the vast majority of 2016 D pennies remain common and worth face value in circulated condition. Realistic expectations are essential. Coin collecting should be approached as a hobby grounded in education, patience, and careful research rather than speculation driven by viral claims. As we continue this exploration, the next part will go even deeper into advanced error identification techniques, real-world auction comparisons, long-term investment perspectives, and how collectors can protect themselves from misinformation while searching for valuable coins. As we move even deeper into the full understanding of the 2016 D1 cent coin, it becomes essential to explore the technical side of minting errors in greater detail, because this is where the possibility of big money truly begins to emerge. Modern coin presses operate with extreme precision, but they are not immune to mechanical or human-related variables. Every coin begins as a blank metal disc called a planchet. That planchet is fed into a striking chamber where two hardened steel dies press the design into the surface under immense pressure. The collar surrounding the planchet shapes the coin's edge and ensures proper diameter. If anything goes slightly wrong in this chain of events, a mint error can occur. One type of error that collectors examine closely is an off-center strike. This happens when the planchet is not properly aligned within the collar during striking. The result is a coin where part of the design is missing, and a blank crescent-shaped area appears on one side. The degree of off-center percentage matters. A slight 5% off-center coin may carry minimal premium, but a dramatic 40% to 60% off-center coin with a fully visible date can command significantly higher value. The reason the date matters is because collectors want to clearly identify the year and mint mark. Without that information, the coin loses part of its collectability. Another fascinating category is the broad strike error. In this case, the coin is struck without the collar fully restraining it. The result is a coin that spreads outward slightly, appearing larger in diameter and thinner than normal. The design may look stretched near the edges. Broad strikes can be attractive to collectors because they are clearly different from standard coins and easy to identify without magnification. Clipped planchet errors are also notable. These occur when the metal strip from which planchets are punched overlaps slightly during the blanking process. This overlap leaves a curved or straight clip missing from the coin's edge. A genuine clipped planchet will show a phenomenon called the Blakesley effect, where the rim opposite the clip is weak or incomplete due to pressure distribution during striking. Authentication is important because some individuals attempt to artificially cut coins to mimic this error. Die cracks and cuds represent another important class of minting anomalies. A die crack appears as a raised line on the coin because it is an aqueous crack in the die itself. When the crack expands to the rim and causes a piece of the die to break away, it creates a cut, a raised blob of metal attached to the rim. Some collectors actively search for dramatic cuds because they create bold, unusual shapes that stand out visually. Then there are doubled dies, which are created during the hubbing process when the working die receives multiple impressions from the master hub that are slightly misaligned. This produces noticeable doubling in the design elements. True doubled dies display separation and rounded secondary images. In contrast, machine doubling occurs during the striking process and creates flat, shelf-like doubling that usually holds little to no premium value. Understanding the difference between these two is critical for anyone hoping to discover a high-value 2016 decent strike-through. Errors also occur when foreign material such as grease, debris, or metal shavings gets between the die and the planchet during striking. This can result in missing letters, distorted areas, or unusual textures on the surface. Grease-filled die errors are relatively common and often minor, but dramatic strike-through errors involving cloth fibers or other objects can be much more valuable if authenticated. When discussions turn toward extremely high dollar amounts such as $98,000 million, it becomes necessary to separate reality from exaggeration. Even the rarest and most historically significant U.S. coins, including legendary early American rarities, sell in the millions, not billions. For a modern 2016 D penny to approach even a fraction of that figure, it would need to be unique, historically unprecedented, and verified beyond doubt. No documented auction records currently support such a valuation for a 2016 D cent. However, it is still possible for a 2016 D penny to sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars under the right circumstances. For example, if a coin displayed a dramatic multi-error combination, such as being struck on the wrong planchet and off-center with strong visual appeal, and if it were certified by a major grading service, competitive bidding could drive the price significantly higher than face value. The coin market rewards rarity, eye appeal, and authenticity. Another layer of value consideration is long-term survival. Modern coins are often handled carelessly because they are viewed as common. As years pass, many coins become scratched, stained, corroded, or worn. The number of pristine, untouched examples naturally decreases. Decades from now, collectors might look back and search for the finest surviving 2016 D cents. If population reports show only a handful graded at the very highest levels, those coins could command premiums due to scarcity in top condition. Market demand also fluctuates with economic conditions. In times of economic uncertainty, some investors turn to tangible assets such as coins and precious metals. While a zinc-based penny does not have intrinsic metal value comparable to gold or silver, collectible coins can still serve as tangible historical artifacts. The emotional appeal of owning a high-grade example from a specific year can drive competition among collectors. Education remains the most powerful tool for anyone entering the coin hobby. Instead of relying on sensational headlines, collectors benefit from studying reference books, auction archives, grading standards, and expert analyses. Knowledge reduces the risk of overpaying for common coins and increases the chance of identifying genuine rarities. In the case of the 2016 D penny, the realistic market value for a circulated example remains 1 cent. Uncirculated examples may sell for a small premium, often a few cents to a few dollars depending on condition. Certified high-grade examples can command higher premiums. Significant mint errors can push values into the hundreds or potentially thousands of dollars. But claims of multi-million or billion-dollar valuations should always be verified through documented auction results and professional authentication. The beauty of the coin hobby lies not only in extreme valuations but in the process of discovery. Searching through rolls of pennies, examining each detail under magnification, learning about die states and strike characteristics, these activities connect collectors to the minting process itself. Even if most 2016D pennies are common, the possibility of finding something unusual keeps the hunt exciting. As we continue further, the next part will explore advanced grading theory, real auction case comparisons, population data interpretation, and deeper investment analysis regarding modern pennies and their future outlook in the numismatic marketplace. As we continue expanding deeper into the complete story of the 2016 D1 coin, we now enter one of the most critical dimensions of modern numismatics: advanced grading theory, population analytics, long-term collectability trends, and realistic versus exaggerated market expectations. Understanding these elements separates casual speculation from serious collecting and professional evaluation. When experts analyze a 2016 D penny at the highest levels, they do not simply look for obvious wear. They evaluate microscopic surface preservation, strike sharpness, die state, contact marks, planchet quality, and eye appeal. Under strong magnification and professional lighting, even a coin that appears flawless to the naked eye may show tiny ticks, abrasions, or spots. These small imperfections can mean the difference between a grade of MS66 and MS68, and that difference can significantly affect price. In modern coinage, the challenge is not scarcity of mintage but scarcity of perfection. Billions of 2016 D cents were struck, but very few will survive in near-perfect condition decades into the future. The grading scale allows up to MS70 for a flawless coin. However, circulation strike coins almost never achieve true MS70 because of the mass production process. Even fresh coins straight from mint bags often show small contact marks from striking in transport. Therefore, if only a very small number of 2016 D pennies achieve MS68 or MS69, collectors competing for registry sets may drive prices upward. Registry competition plays a powerful role in modern coin pricing. Collectors who build complete Lincoln cent sets often want the highest possible grade for every date and mint mark. If population reports show that only a few examples exist at the top grade for 2016 D, intense bidding competition can emerge. This does not mean the coin is rare in absolute terms. Billions exist, but it becomes rare in that specific certified grade. Scarcity at the highest level creates value in niche collecting circles. Population reports from grading services list how many coins they have certified at each grade. However, these numbers require careful interpretation. Some coins are resubmitted in hopes of receiving a higher grade, which can inflate total certification counts. Additionally, many coins remain uncertified in private collections. Therefore, population data is informative but not absolute proof of true rarity. Now let us examine the idea of extreme valuations such as $98,000 million from an analytical perspective. In the history of United States coin auctions, the most famous and historically significant coins, including rare early federal issues and unique patterns, have sold for amounts reaching into the tens of millions of dollars. Those coins are typically one-of-a-kind or extremely low mintage rarities with centuries of documented history. A modern mass-produced circulation penny would require unprecedented uniqueness to approach even a small fraction of such figures. There are no documented sales records or professional auction archives indicating that a 2016 D penny has sold for anything remotely close to billions of dollars. However, that does not eliminate the possibility of meaningful value. Realistically, a 2016 D penny might achieve the following approximate ranges depending on condition and characteristics. A circulated coin remains worth face value. A bright uncirculated coin taken from a mint roll may bring a few cents to a small premium among collectors assembling date sets. A coin graded MS67 or MS68 by a major grading service could sell for significantly more depending on demand. A dramatic mint error could reach into the hundreds or even low thousands of dollars if visually impressive and properly authenticated. These figures reflect real market behavior based on supply, demand, and precedent. Authentication is essential when significant money is involved. The numismatic community relies heavily on third-party grading services because they provide standardized evaluation and tamper-evident encapsulation. When a coin is sealed in a certified holder, buyers gain confidence that the coin is genuine and accurately graded. This trust is what allows coins to trade sight unseen at auction. Without certification, even a coin with unusual features may struggle to reach strong prices because buyers hesitate without professional confirmation. Long-term investment potential for modern pennies remains speculative. Historically, modern coins appreciate primarily when top-grade populations remain extremely low or when specific varieties gain widespread recognition. For example, certain double-die varieties from past decades have become famous and highly collectible because they were dramatic, easily identifiable, and well documented. If a comparable variety were discovered for the 2016 descent and confirmed as rare, its value could rise over time. Storage and preservation continue to play a decisive role in long-term value. Modern zinc core cents are more susceptible to environmental damage than older solid copper cents. If moisture penetrates the thin copper plating, corrosion can occur beneath the surface. Proper storage in climate-controlled conditions, away from humidity and contaminants, is essential for preserving high-grade coins. Another factor influencing future value is the potential discontinuation of the penny. For years, discussions have circulated regarding the elimination of the 1-cent coin due to production costs exceeding face value. If production were to cease permanently, public interest in final-year issues might rise temporarily. However, unless mintages were low or special circumstances existed, most final-year coins would still remain common because of mass production. Market psychology cannot be ignored. Viral headlines suggesting astronomical coin values often generate excitement, which in turn increases online searches and roll hunting activity. This heightened attention sometimes leads to short-term spikes in asking prices for certain coins. However, serious collectors differentiate between hype and documented sales. Long-term value stability depends on consistent collector demand rather than sensational claims. It is also worth examining how auction houses establish credibility. Major auction firms publish detailed catalogs, high-resolution images, grading descriptions, and provenance information. When a coin achieves a record price, it becomes part of numismatic history, widely reported in hobby publications. In contrast, unverified online listings with extreme prices but no confirmed sales do not establish true market value. The 2016 D penny represents a modern chapter in a long and evolving coin series. Its historical importance lies not in rarity but in continuity. It carries forward the Lincoln portrait introduced in 1909 and the Union Shield design representing national unity. It was minted during a period of technological advancement and economic debate regarding coinage costs. It exists in enormous numbers, yet within those numbers, tiny variations and exceptional survivors create niches of value for collectors. Ultimately, the true worth of any coin, including the 2016 descent, is determined by a combination of measurable characteristics and market demand. While it is unlikely for a standard example to reach extreme valuations such as billions of dollars, it is entirely possible for specific certified high-grade or error examples to achieve meaningful premiums in the collector market. Education, careful examination, and reliance on. As we move further into the deepest layer of understanding surrounding the 2016 D1 coin, it becomes important to compare it with legendary coin sales from history to properly frame expectations, future projections, and the realistic pathways by which a coin's value can dramatically rise over time. In the world of numismatics, value is rarely sudden or accidental. It is usually the result of documented rarity, historical importance, collector demand, and certified authenticity working together over many years. Throughout American coin history, the coins that have reached extraordinary prices share several characteristics. They were either produced in extremely small quantities, were experimental or pattern pieces never meant for circulation, or became famous due to a compelling historical narrative. In contrast, the 2016 D penny was a standard circulation strike produced in massive numbers for everyday commerce. That fundamental difference sets the baseline for realistic expectations. However, history teaches that rarity can develop in unexpected ways. Some coins that were once considered common later became scarce in high grades because most examples were heavily circulated or poorly preserved. Over decades, attrition reduces the number of pristine survivors. If collectors in the future become highly competitive about assembling complete early 21st century Lincoln cent sets in top grades, the finest known 2016 D examples could become highly sought after. Scarcity in grade rather than mintage can sometimes drive significant premiums. The concept of conditional rarity is crucial here. Conditional rarity refers to coins that are common overall but rare in exceptional condition. For instance, if billions of 2016 D cents were struck, but only a very small fraction survive in near-perfect condition decades later, those few could command strong prices. This principle has been seen before in modern coins where top-graded examples far exceed the value of lower-grade pieces. Now let us examine investment psychology. Many people are drawn to coins after hearing stories of rare pennies selling for thousands or even millions of dollars. This excitement fuels roll hunting, coin searching, and online speculation. But professional collectors rely on research rather than hope. They examine auction archives, population reports, grading standards, and verified sales records. A coin's true market value is determined not by what someone asks for it online, but by what a buyer is actually willing to pay in a completed sale. If a 2016 D penny were to ever sell for an unusually high amount, it would likely involve one of several scenarios. First, it could be a unique and dramatic mint error never previously recorded. Second, it could be the sole example graded at an ultra-high level, such as MS-69, with registry collectors competing intensely. Third, it could involve a transitional or wrong planchet error that was confirmed as extremely rare. Even in those scenarios, historical precedent suggests values would likely be in the thousands or possibly tens of thousands, not billions. The claim of $98,000 million highlights the importance of critical evaluation. In the numismatic world, even the most iconic American coins with centuries of documented history rarely exceed tens of millions in auction results. Therefore, when evaluating modern coins, collectors must ground expectations in established market behavior. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Future outlook projections for the 2016 D penny depend on several factors. If the penny were to be discontinued permanently in coming years, interest in modern cents could increase temporarily. If collectors shift focus toward assembling complete early 2000s date and mint sets in top condition, demand for high-grade certified examples could rise. Additionally, if new varieties or errors are discovered and widely recognized by the numismatic community, those specific coins could appreciate significantly. Technological advancements also play a role. High-resolution imaging and digital marketplaces allow collectors worldwide to participate in auctions instantly. This global connectivity can increase competition for rare certified examples. If a future auction were to feature a spectacular 2016 D mint error with dramatic visual appeal, bidders from around the world could compete, pushing the realized price higher than expected. Education remains the most powerful strategy for anyone seeking value in modern coins. Learning how to properly examine coins under magnification, understanding the difference between mechanical doubling and true double dies, recognizing genuine mint errors versus post-mint damage, and knowing how to interpret grading standards are all essential skills. Without this knowledge, it is easy to mistake common imperfections for valuable rarities. The story of the 2016 D penny is ultimately a story of modern American coinage, mass production, technological precision, economic debate over cost efficiency, and the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln's portrait. It represents continuity within a series that began in 1909 and continues into the present. While most examples will remain worth 1 cent, a tiny fraction may hold collector premiums due to condition or error status. Long term, the true treasure in coin collecting is not always the monetary gain but the knowledge gained through study and the excitement of discovery. The possibility of finding an unusual piece keeps collectors engaged. Even if the odds are small, the process of searching and learning builds expertise and appreciation for minting craftsmanship. As we approach the next stage of this extended script, we will move into advanced market strategy, including how to sell a potentially valuable coin, how auction timing affects price, how to avoid scams, and how to build a serious modern Lincoln cent collection step by step for long-term potential. As we continue expanding this complete and deeply detailed exploration of the 2016 D1 cent coin, we now move into one of the most practical and important areas for collectors and viewers who may believe they have discovered something valuable: how to evaluate, protect, market, and potentially sell a 2016 D penny if it appears to have special characteristics. This stage separates casual curiosity from serious numismatic action. Imagine someone believes they have found a rare 2016 D penny, perhaps it looks unusual, has strong doubling, appears off-center, or seems nearly perfect in condition. The very first step is not to rush to sell it, and certainly not to clean it. Cleaning is one of the most damaging mistakes in coin collecting. Even light wiping with cloth can create hairline scratches that permanently reduce value. Professional grading services can immediately detect clean surfaces, and a clean coin will often receive a details grade instead of a straight numerical grade, reducing market confidence and resale potential. The next step is proper examination. A 5x to 10x magnifying loupe is sufficient for initial inspection. Look closely at the date, mint mark, lettering, Lincoln's eye, beard, and hair. True double die varieties show rounded secondary images with separation lines. Machine doubling looks flat and shelf-like. Also inspect the rim for signs of clipping, cuts, or strike anomalies. If the coin appears dramatically off-center or struck on the wrong metal, that becomes even more interesting. After initial examination, comparison is essential. Compare the coin to known examples documented by reputable error and variety reference sites or numismatic publications. Many collectors mistakenly assume post-mint damage, such as dents, corrosion bubbles, or environmental staining, is a mint error. Understanding the difference requires careful study. Post-mint damage typically disrupts metal irregularly, while genuine mint errors show metal flow patterns consistent with the striking process. If the coin still appears promising, the next serious step is third-party grading. Submitting the coin to a recognized grading service such as PCGS or NGC provides authentication, grading, and encapsulation in a tamper-evident holder. This dramatically increases buyer confidence. Without certification, even a rare error coin may struggle to bring strong offers because buyers hesitate to trust unverified claims. When preparing to sell, timing and platform selection matter. High-value coins often achieve the best results through major auction houses that specialize in numismatics. These auctions attract serious collectors who are willing to compete. If the coin is mid-range in value, online auction platforms may suffice, but detailed photographs, certification information, and transparent descriptions are critical. Clear images under proper lighting help buyers evaluate luster and surface quality. Auction timing can also influence realized prices. Coins sold during major numismatic conventions or in high-profile sales often receive greater visibility. Additionally, if registry competition is strong at the time, meaning collectors are actively competing for top-graded examples, prices can rise dramatically. On the other hand, selling during a slow market cycle may reduce realized value. Now let us examine long-term strategy for collectors who want to build a modern Lincoln Cent collection centered around coins like the 2016 DE. A structured approach works best. Begin by assembling high-quality, uncirculated examples directly from mint rolls when possible. Store them in archival safe holders in a climate-controlled environment. Monitor grading populations to identify which years remain scarce in top condition. If the goal is investment-oriented collecting, focus on the finest available grades within budget rather than large quantities of average coins. Another advanced strategy is cherry-picking. Cherry-picking involves identifying undervalued coins in dealer inventories or circulation that have the potential to grade higher than priced. For example, if a raw 2016 DE cent appears exceptionally clean and sharply struck, a knowledgeable collector might submit it for grading in hopes of achieving a high mint state grade. However, this approach carries risk because grading is subjective within defined standards. Avoiding scams is another crucial topic. Whenever large numbers like millions or billions are mentioned online, skepticism is healthy. Fraudulent listings sometimes use misleading titles such as Rare 2016 DE Penny worth $98 million to attract clicks. Always verify completed sales rather than asking prices. If a coin truly sold for an extraordinary amount, it would be documented in auction archives and widely reported within the hobby. Insurance and documentation become relevant if a coin is believed to hold significant value. Keep purchase receipts, grading certificates, and high-resolution images. If a coin is stored in a safe deposit box or home safe, maintain an updated inventory for insurance purposes. Proper documentation protects the collector and simplifies future resale. Let us also consider the psychological side of value perception. Humans are naturally drawn to stories of hidden treasure. The idea that a simple penny could change someone's financial future creates excitement. That excitement fuels searching and discussion. However, sustainable success in numismatics comes from patience, research, and disciplined evaluation rather than chasing viral claims. Looking decades ahead, what could realistically happen to the 2016 DE penny? If the penny denomination is eventually discontinued, public nostalgia might briefly increase interest. If a major new variety is discovered and confirmed rare, that specific variety could gain strong demand. If registry competition intensifies for early 21st century cents and ultra-high grades, the finest certified examples could rise in price. But all of these outcomes depend on documented rarity and sustained collector demand. At its core, the 2016 DE 1-cent coin represents continuity, modern minting precision, and the enduring presence of Abraham Lincoln on American currency. It is common in circulation, yet within that commonness lies the small but real possibility of rare condition examples and mint errors that excite collectors. Its true value depends not on exaggerated headlines but on measurable characteristics verified through trusted channels. We are approaching the final stretch of this extended deep dive series. In the next part, we will bring everything together, combining history, grading science, market mechanics, error analysis, long-term projection, and realistic versus mythical valuation to create a powerful concluding section that fully answers whether a 2016 D penny could ever approach extreme wealth status and what collectors should truly expect. As we reach this final and most comprehensive stage of the deep exploration into the 2016 D1 cent coin, everything comes together: the history, the minting process, the grading science, the psychology of collecting, the market mechanics, the reality of documented auction records, and the powerful contrast between realistic value and sensational claims. Understanding all of these elements together allows a collector, investor, or curious viewer to see the complete picture with clarity rather than hype. The 2016 D Lincoln cent was struck at the Denver Mint as part of a long-running series that began in 1909. It carries the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most recognized faces in American history, and the Union Shield reverse design symbolizing unity and federal strength. It weighs 2.5 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and is composed of a zinc core plated with copper. These specifications place it firmly within the modern era of U.S. coinage, technologically advanced, mass-produced, and intended for daily commerce. Billions of 2016 D pennies were struck. That production volume alone explains why most examples remain worth exactly 1 cent in circulation. In coin collecting, rarity is the foundation of extraordinary value. When supply is enormous and survival rate is high, the baseline value remains low. However, within that massive supply, a tiny fraction can separate themselves through condition, error status, or unique circumstances. Condition is the first pathway to premium value. A 2016 D penny in heavily circulated condition shows wear on Lincoln's cheek, hair, and jawline. It loses its original mint luster and becomes dull. Such coins hold no premium beyond face value. But an uncirculated coin preserved carefully from the moment of minting retains its original cartwheel luster and sharp detail. If that coin is certified at a high mint state grade, such as MS67 or MS68, it may bring a significantly higher price than face value. The value does not come from age or metal, but from scarcity at that condition level. Error coins represent the second pathway. Dramatic off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, rung planchet strikes, major double dies, and significant die breaks can create collector demand. The more dramatic and visually obvious the error, the more desirable it tends to be. Authentication through professional grading is essential for maximizing market confidence. Without third-party verification, even a genuine error may struggle to command strong prices. Now we address the powerful topic of extreme valuations such as $98,000 million. In the documented history of United States coin auctions, even the most legendary and historically important coins have sold in the range of millions, not tens of billions. Those coins are typically unique specimens, early federal rarities, or pieces with centuries of documented provenance. For a 2016 D penny to reach even a small fraction of such figures, it would need to be historically unprecedented and unique beyond any known mint error. There are no verified public auction records showing a 2016 D penny selling for anything remotely close to billions of dollars. Market value is determined by completed sales between knowledgeable buyers and sellers. Asking prices online do not equal realized values. Anyone can list a coin for an extreme amount, but unless a sale occurs and is documented, it does not establish market reality. However, dismissing the 2016 D penny entirely would also be incorrect. Modern coins can and do achieve meaningful premiums under the right circumstances. Registry competition among collectors can drive up prices for the highest graded examples. Rare varieties can gain recognition and appreciation. Unique error coins can sell for thousands. These are realistic, documented pathways to higher value. Long-term projections depend on several variables. If the penny denomination is discontinued in the future, collector interest in final year or early 21st century issues could temporarily increase. If high-grade survivors become scarce over decades due to environmental damage and attrition, top certified examples could see increased demand. If a newly discovered rare die variety emerges and is widely recognized, its value could rise significantly. But wealth in coin collecting rarely happens overnight. It develops through knowledge, patience, authentication, and documented scarcity. The real treasure is not hype but expertise. A collector who understands grading standards, mint error identification, and market history holds far more power than someone chasing viral claims. The 2016 D1 cent coin ultimately represents something fascinating about modern money. It is small, common, and often overlooked. Yet within its copper-plated surface lies history, craftsmanship, economic debate, and the enduring image of Abraham Lincoln. It shows how billions of identical objects can circulate daily, while only a microscopic number might ever rise above face value due to exceptional condition or error. If someone believes they possess a special 2016 D penny, the correct approach is careful examination, comparison with verified references, professional authentication, and reliance on completed auction data. Avoid cleaning. Avoid exaggerated expectations. Focus on measurable facts. In conclusion, the realistic market outlook for a standard 2016 D penny remains 1 cent. High-grade certified examples can command premiums. Dramatic and authenticated mint errors can reach much higher levels. But claims of astronomical billion-dollar values lack documented support. The coin market is built on evidence, not speculation, and yet, the excitement remains. Because somewhere in circulation, among billions of ordinary coins, there is always the small possibility of something extraordinary, a striking error, a flawless survivor, a discovery waiting to be recognized. That possibility keeps collectors searching, studying, and learning. The true value of the 2016 D penny is not found in sensational headlines. It is found in knowledge, documentation, and the disciplined pursuit of authenticity. As we continue even beyond the conventional conclusion, we now move into a deeper philosophical and long-range economic examination of the 2016 D1 coin, because understanding its full story requires stepping back and looking at currency itself, how societies assign value, how perception shapes price, and how an object with a face value of 1 cent can inspire conversations about millions or even billions of dollars. Money, at its core, is a social agreement. A 2016 D penny has purchasing power only because the United States government declares it legal tender and society accepts it in exchange for goods and services. Its intrinsic metal value is lower than its face value, meaning its worth is not based on copper or zinc content but on trust and policy. This makes the discussion of extreme collectible value even more interesting, because collectible value is also based on agreement among collectors that rarity, condition, and historical significance justify paying more than face value. When people hear that a penny could be worth massive amounts of money, they are reacting to the power of transformation. The idea that something common can become rare, that something overlooked can become priceless, captures imagination. The 2016 D penny, sitting quietly in circulation, becomes a symbol of hidden opportunity. But transformation in numismatics is not random. It is governed by clear principles: scarcity, authentication, demand, and documented sales history. Let us examine the mathematics of survival rates. If billions of 2016 D pennies were minted, perhaps millions remain in relatively high grade today. Over decades, attrition occurs. Coins are lost, damaged, corroded, or destroyed. If, 50 years from now, only a tiny fraction remain in pristine condition, those survivors may command stronger premiums. This process has occurred with many earlier coin issues. Not because they were rare at birth, but because time reduced their numbers in top condition. However, even then, value has limits defined by market demand. The coin collecting community, while global, is still finite. Prices rise when multiple serious collectors compete for a limited number of top examples. Without competition, prices stagnate. This is why registries set competition matters. If collectors decide that owning the highest graded 2016 D-cent is prestigious, demand for top pop coins can increase dramatically. Another layer involves generational interest. Coin collecting tends to move in cycles. Certain generations become highly engaged in building sets of the coins they grew up with. For someone born around 2016, that year may eventually carry nostalgic value. Decades later, collectors might pursue coins from their birth year in the highest possible condition. Emotional attachment can influence market behavior. Now let us explore the mechanics of how a hypothetical record sale would unfold if an extraordinary 2016 D penny existed. First, the coin would need professional authentication confirming a unique or nearly unique feature. Second, it would need exposure through a major auction house. Third, it would need at least two highly motivated bidders willing to compete aggressively.
Without competition, even a rare coin cannot reach extraordinary heights.
The final hammer price would then become part of public auction records, establishing precedent. In contrast, online claims without documented completed sales do not establish precedent.
This distinction is critical. Market value is not what someone hopes to receive. It is what someone has actually paid. We must also consider technological advances in counterfeit detection.
As values rise for rare coins, counterfeit attempts increase.
Third-party grading services use advanced imaging, metallurgical analysis, and authentication expertise to protect the market.
If a 2016 D penny were claimed to be extraordinarily rare or unique, it would undergo intense scrutiny before acceptance. From an investment perspective, diversification matters.
Serious numismatic investors rarely concentrate wealth into a single modern coin issue.
Instead, they spread investment across historically proven rarities, gold and silver coins, and certified key dates with established demand.
A 2016 D penny, unless possessing a dramatic and verified error, would not typically represent a primary investment vehicle.
It may represent a collectible interest with upside potential, but not a cornerstone asset. There is also a broader economic context. Inflation changes purchasing power over time. A coin that sells for $1,000 today may represent a different level of purchasing power decades from now. Therefore, when projecting long-term potential, collectors must consider inflation, collector base growth, and shifts in hobby interest. The cultural role of Abraham Lincoln on the coin also adds symbolic weight. His image has appeared on the cent for over a century.
That continuity creates familiarity and stability.
The Union Shield reverse design introduced in 2010 connects the modern coin to foundational national symbolism. While symbolism alone does not create extreme value, it strengthens historical identity. Let us imagine the most optimistic realistic scenario. Suppose a 2016 D penny is discovered struck on a completely wrong metal planchet never intended for cent production, confirmed unique, preserved in near-perfect condition, and certified by top experts. Such a coin could achieve significant value at auction, potentially reaching into 5 figures or beyond depending on collector excitement. But even that scenario would operate within historical pricing norms established by previous modern mint errors. Extreme billion-dollar valuations would require not just rarity, but global historical significance beyond the realm of known numismatic precedent. As of documented history, no such event exists for a modern Lincoln cent, and yet, the search continues.
People continue to check their change. Roll hunters continue opening bank-wrapped rolls. Collectors continue submitting coins for grading. Because the hobby is fueled by possibility.
The 2016 D penny may be common, but within commonness lies variation, and within variation lies opportunity. The ultimate lesson in studying the 2016 D 1 cent coin is this: knowledge multiplies value more reliably than speculation. Understanding minting processes, grading scales, authentication systems, auction mechanics, and historical precedent allows a collector to navigate the market intelligently. Excitement draws people in, but education keeps them successful. We are now very close to completing the entire extended master script. In the next and final part, we will deliver the ultimate closing narrative, a powerful summary tying together history, realism, opportunity, caution, and the enduring fascination of a single copper-plated coin that continues to inspire questions about wealth and rarity. As we arrive at the final section of this comprehensive journey into the 2016 D 1 cent coin, it is time to synthesize everything we have explored: history, minting technology, condition, grading, error analysis, market mechanics, psychology, long-term projections, and the distinction between realistic and sensational valuations. This is the ultimate narrative that frames the coin not only as currency but as a collector's object, a potential investment, and a symbol of curiosity and possibility. The 2016 D penny is one of the modern Lincoln cents struck at the Denver Mint, featuring Abraham Lincoln's iconic portrait on the obverse and the Union Shield reverse design, a symbol of national unity and continuity. It weighs 2.5 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and has a composition of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating. In ordinary circulation, it functions as everyday money, exchanged countless times for small purchases, but in the collector's world, its story is far richer. The vast mintage of the 2016 D penny, in the billions, means that almost all examples remain common. Yet, within these billions, a microscopic number exists in pristine uncirculated condition, and a tiny fraction may possess dramatic errors or unusual die varieties.
These coins are the ones that attract collector attention, registry competition, and auction interest.
The key to understanding value lies in recognizing the difference between common circulation coins and exceptional specimens.
Condition is paramount.
Coins graded at MS65 or higher, especially MS67 or MS68, are scarce relative to total mintage and can command premiums far above face value. Luster, strike sharpness, absence of contact marks, and eye appeal all contribute to grading outcomes, and collector desirability. Error coins are another avenue to higher value. Dramatic off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, true doubled dies, and rare die cracks can create significant collector interest.
However, authentication through major grading services is essential.
Without third-party verification, even striking errors may not achieve meaningful market prices. Understanding the difference between mint errors and post-mint damage is critical for any serious collector, as improper handling, cleaning, or artificial alteration can permanently reduce value. Historical context frames perspective. Extreme claims, such as a 2016 D penny being worth $98,000 million, are unsupported by documented auction history. Even the rarest and most historically significant U.S. coins, including unique patterns, early federal issues, and famous gold coins, have never reached billions in realized sales. The numismatic marketplace is built on verifiable transactions, completed auctions, and documented provenance. Asking prices online, viral posts, or speculative articles do not establish true market value. Realistic value emerges from a combination of rarity and condition, documented mint errors, and verified high-grade certification. For a 2016 D penny, circulated examples remain at face value, uncirculated coins bring modest premiums, certified MS67 and MS68 specimens may reach higher prices, and dramatic errors can occasionally achieve hundreds or thousands of dollars. Extreme outliers are always possible but require extraordinary evidence. Collector confidence, driven by certification, provenance, and rarity, is what allows coins to reach meaningful premiums. Market mechanics, auction strategy, and registry competition further influence realized value.
High-profile auctions attract serious bidders, while online marketplaces require careful presentation and transparency.
Long-term projections depend on attrition rates, survival of high-grade coins, collector interest, and potential discontinuation of the penny. Emotional attachment and nostalgia may influence future generations of collectors, particularly for coins minted during their birth years. Technological advances have also changed the landscape. High-resolution photography, online databases, population reports, and global auction access allow collectors to make informed decisions. Authentication technology, metallurgical analysis, and grading encapsulation protect buyers and maintain confidence in transactions. Modern coin collecting is no longer about luck alone. It is about education, research, and disciplined evaluation. The psychology of value is perhaps the most fascinating aspect. A simple penny, worth 1 cent in circulation, sparks excitement because it embodies possibility, the possibility that something ordinary can become extraordinary, the possibility of discovery, and the thrill of finding rarity where it seems unlikely. This dynamic is what fuels roll hunting, coin searches, and collector enthusiasm worldwide.
Yet excitement must be tempered with knowledge.
Speculation without understanding can lead to disappointment. In the end, the 2016 D 1 cent coin is both ordinary and extraordinary.
Ordinary because billions exist and most will remain in everyday use.
Extraordinary because within that commonness lies potential for high-grade survival, potential for unique errors, potential for discovery, and potential for learning. Its value is measured not only in dollars but in the joy of exploration, the education gained, and the connection to over a century of American coinage history. Collectors who approach the 2016 D penny with patience, study, and verification will find the hobby rewarding. They will understand that true value comes from facts, not hype, from grading and documentation, not viral claims, from scarcity and verified demand, not speculation. And they will appreciate that even a 1 cent coin can tell a story of history, craftsmanship, economics, and human fascination. The 2016 D penny may never make anyone a billionaire, but it can teach collectors about rarity, precision, market dynamics, and the thrill of discovery. It reminds us that extraordinary stories can exist within the most ordinary objects, and that knowledge, patience, and careful study are the keys to unlocking any form of true value. In this way, the 2016 D penny transcends its humble face value. It becomes a symbol of curiosity, education, and the endless potential for discovery in the world of coins. And that is the ultimate lesson. Sometimes, the most fascinating treasures are not measured in billions of dollars, but in the insight, excitement, and understanding they inspire. This concludes the complete extended deep dive master script for the 2016 D1 cent coin.